When people think of Tom Silva, they picture calm confidence, steady hands, and a man who can fix just about anything. For decades on this old house, he has been the trusted face guiding millions through the chaos of renovations. But behind that reassuring presence, there's a deeper story, one built long before the cameras ever started rolling. Tom's journey didn't begin on television. It started quietly in Lexington, in a working-class neighborhood filled with the sounds of hammers striking nails and the smell of freshly cut wood drifting through the air. He grew up in a family where construction wasn't just a profession, it was a way of life. His father, a skilled builder, didn't rely on textbooks or classrooms to teach him. Instead, he handed young Tom a tool belt and brought him along to real job sites. Those early years shaped everything. Tom didn't just learn how to build, he learned why things were built a certain way, why a beam needed reinforcement, why precision mattered, even in places no one would ever see. These weren't just lessons in carpentry, they were lessons in integrity. Doing things right the first time became more than a habit. It became his identity. As he grew older, Tom and his brother turned those lessons into something bigger. Together, they built a reputation through their family business, Silva Brothers Construction. Word spread quickly. If you wanted quality, if you wanted something built to last, you called the Silvas. Their work wasn't flashy, but it was honest. And that honesty caught the attention of someone who would change Tom's life forever. That someone was Russell Morrish, a neighbor who happened to be a television producer. At the time, Tom had no interest in TV. In fact, when Morrish first approached him about appearing on a show, Tom turned him down. He was too busy, too focused on his work, and completely uninterested in stepping in front of a camera. But sometimes life doesn't wait for you to be ready. One day, Morrish showed up at Tom's job site with a camera crew. No script, no preparation, just a microphone clipped onto his shirt and a simple expectation. Be yourself. That moment changed everything. What started as an unexpected appearance turned into a long-standing role that would define his career. By the mid-1980s, Tom had become a core part of this old house. And it didn't take long for viewers to connect with him. He wasn't just skilled, he was relatable. He explained complex construction in a way that made it feel approachable. He didn't perform for the camera. He simply worked and let the audience learn alongside him. Over the years, he tackled projects that would intimidate even seasoned professionals. Historic homes on the brink of collapse. Structures warped by time and neglect. Buildings that seemed beyond saving. But Tom approached each one with the same mindset he learned as a child. Take your time, respect the craft, and do it right. Yet what truly made him stand out wasn't just his skill. It was his authenticity. Even as his fame grew, he never drifted from his roots. He was the same man helping a neighbor fix a roof as he was teaching millions on television. And that consistency built something even more important than houses. It built trust. But as the years passed, fans began to notice something. Subtle changes, a quieter presence, moments where he seemed to step back. And with that came whispers, questions, rumors. What was really going on behind that calm demeanor? After more than 40 years in the public eye, Tom finally began to open up. And what he revealed wasn't scandal. It was something far more real. A story of pressure, conflict, and the quiet battles fought behind the scenes to protect something he deeply believed in. Because the truth is, keeping a show like this old house authentic wasn't always easy. Behind the warmth and steady presence that viewers saw on screen, a very different story was unfolding. For years, Tom Silva found himself in a quiet but constant struggle, not with tools or materials, but with the very direction of the show itself. As television evolved, so did the pressures behind the scenes. Producers wanted tighter timelines, faster results, and more polished visuals. But Tom saw a problem with that. construction doesn't work that way. Real craftsmanship takes time, patience, and precision. You can't rush it without sacrificing quality. And that's where the tension began. Tom believed the show should always reflect reality. Real tools, real timelines, real challenges. But when production demands started pushing for shortcuts, it didn't sit right with him. For someone who had built his entire life on doing things properly, even the idea of cutting corners for the camera felt like a betrayal. The conflict wasn't loud or dramatic. It was steady, persistent, and deeply personal. At one point, things became so intense that Tom reached a breaking point. He made it clear, either the integrity of the work would be respected or he would walk away. It wasn't a threat. It was a line he refused to cross. And for a moment, it looked like he might actually leave. The producers, recognizing what he meant to the show, made changes. They gave him more control, more say, more respect for the process he had spent decades mastering. It was enough to keep him there, but the pressure never fully disappeared. Years later, that pressure returned. In 2004, Tom came closer than ever to leaving for good. He even began writing a resignation letter. This wasn't frustration in the moment, it was a serious, thought-out decision. He discussed it with his family. He weighed everything. After decades of dedication, he questioned whether it was time to step away. Imagine that moment, walking away from something you helped build to protect the very values it was built on. In the end, he stayed, but not without changes. Once again, the producers adjusted, ensuring his work wouldn't be compromised. The letter was never sent, but the fact that it existed spoke volumes. Then came another challenge, one that had nothing to do with television. In 2018, This Old House family was shaken by the sudden loss of a young crew member, Austin Wilson. He wasn't just a colleague, he was someone Tom had personally mentored. His passing hit deeply. For the first time, those close to Tom noticed a change. The man who had always been steady, always composed, grew quieter, more reflective. He began to question things. Not just his role on the show, but everything. Could he keep going? Grief has a way of reshaping perspective. And for a while, it seemed like this might be the moment he finally stepped away. But something unexpected happened. Support came from the people around him, especially from Austin's own family. They reminded him of the impact he had made, not just as a builder, but as a mentor, as someone who inspired others. And slowly, he found his footing again. By 2025, at the age of 77, Tom made something clear. Despite everything, the pressure, the conflicts, the loss, he wasn't done. He chose to stay, not out of obligation, not out of habit, but out of purpose. He continued working as lead contractor and mentor, guiding new generations while still taking on major projects. But perhaps his greatest legacy isn't found in the homes he restored. It's in the people he helped shape along the way. Through mentorship, through teaching, and through his commitment to doing things the right way, Tom built something far greater than a television career. He built a standard, a reminder that in a world chasing speed and shortcuts, there is still value in patience, honesty, and craftsmanship. So the next time you see him on screen, measuring twice before making a cut, remember this: what looks simple is backed by decades of quiet resilience, of standing firm when it mattered most, of choosing integrity again and again. And maybe that's the real story here. Not a scandal, not a hidden secret, but a man who spent his life building things the right way and refused to stop.